Hi, I'm 2021 Why Not Cam Awards winner Chelsea Poe. I'm here to tell you about my cam studio, Treasure Cams. Treasure Cams is a performer-led webcam studio owned by queer porn star Bella Vendetta. We welcome all 21 plus models who want to earn a paycheck from home as cam performers. We're open to all body types, genders, persuasions, and presentations. You get access to our performer-only forums, monthly team meetings, as well as help with promotion and marketing. For customers, check out treasurecams.com to see all of our models, schedules, and photos. treasurecams.com. Have you ever been looking for an amazing queer cam performer? Well, I got you covered. You should check out TS Cami. Her super hot content is on Chatterbait, Twitter, Xhamster, and Reddit. Support this rad trans femme babe. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Performers Pod. I'm Chelsea Poe, and I'm here today with Victor Viero. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited.
So I'm really excited to have you on. So I'm extremely old in porn years. I started camming in 2013. Wait, no, 2011.
A veteran.
I know. It's crazy how this industry, I'm 32, and sometimes when I talk to people in this industry, I'm like, the first award show I went to was called the Tranny Awards.
Oh my
Like,
God.
it was so horrific at the
Holy
time.
shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
goddamn.
And then I was like, maybe they
This.
shouldn't call it this. And they're like, you're
Yeah.
radical. I'm like, okay.
Okay. Okay.
So Bella actually suggested you go on. So I hear that you do a lot of like extreme BDSM content on cam, which I can definitely relate to.
Oh yeah, baby.
And yeah, I just kind of like wonder what kind of propelled you into camming because you're post-pandemic. You started your entire career in that point. Yeah, just like what does the world look like jumping into camming now? Because when I joined, it was still so I think just like new in 2011. It
Yeah.
was still like very much nobody knew anyone who was a cam girl or cam performer. So like post pandemic, was that what like really interests you? Because it was just kind of like everywhere.
I have wanted to get into sex work pretty much as soon as I discovered it. Um,
Hmm.
like in a more serious way. So I had been thinking about it since I was like 18,
How old are you
but
now, by the way?
I'm 26.
Okay.
And I got into it seriously at 24. I
Hmm.
made my OnlyFans in 2020 and, did a
Like
little
everyone
like everyone,
did.
like fucking everybody. But I didn't really do much until 2021. I got serious when I joined Treasure Cams.
Hmm.
That's when I started my career path, is when I started working with Bella. It's become a lot more mainstream, I would say. OnlyFans became really iconic, and I think that opened up a lot of doors for people who maybe were afraid to get into it. I think in some ways it's become a lot more normalized. Like,
Hmm. I feel like the pandemic just opened all the doors where it went from,
yeah, yeah, I
you know,
agree.
a few people talking about it to like clearly Beyonce won a Grammy award for the song talking about starting an OnlyFans, where it's like
Amazing.
that happened in the course of a year, it's just like
Yeah,
so
right.
crazy. Um, so were there like any like people who really influenced you to get into the industry that you like looked up to in the industry?
Honestly, I just had a couple of friends who were cam models, and I started burlesque. So just to back up, I started doing
Yeah.
burlesque when I was 18. So that was like my intro into making money while naked.
Are you from New England, I'm assuming?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I had like some go-go dancing gigs. I worked for an entertainment company. And I knew a woman on there who was a cam model. And when the pandemic popped off and I lost my job, I
Hmm.
reached out to her. She kind of gave me, here's the first 10 things to do. And I got into it a little bit then. I struggled a lot in the first year. Oh my God. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And it showed. It showed. It was not a super fun first year. Very inconsistent money.
Hmm.
When I started working with Bella though, it was a huge change. I've been with her for 2 years. The first year, I swear to God, was just like focusing on lifestyle changes so that I could actually do sex work successfully. I'm coming up on my 2 year anniversary with her.
Oh.
And since last hot season, so since last September, is when I've started to see my kind of like jump into making more consistent money with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's really great. We do a lot of like, she does lots of one-on-one consultations. We have like meetings, lots of resources. So
I
having
feel
that
like
backing has helped a lot.
I feel like it is really important with camming, like because if you're just a random person at a random campsite, it's very isolating because I feel
Yeah,
like you don't actually get to see other people unless you're like going to conventions and stuff. For me, I started working at Kink Live when I moved out to the Bay, and like just actually having people like in the next room camming and being like,
right.
"Oh wow, there's actually other people here doing this." I feel like it makes it way less isolating, and I think like
Yeah.
camming is one of those forms of sex work that I think so mentally demanding.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You can just
Because
stare down the barrel of a camera and like make fuck me
for
eyes.
hours, for
Yeah,
hours,
yeah,
and dealing with people who are trying to scam you and
yeah,
people who are trying to all these different things where I'm like, I've done gangbang scenes, I've done really extreme BDSM porn, but like
totally,
in a way, a bad camming week can take way more out of you than that, where you're like,
totally.
what the fuck am I doing with my life? I
Yeah,
made
totally.
$17 in 2 days or
Oh
something.
my God, yeah. Those I've had, we've all had the nights where we get on for 5 hours and we leave with 50 cents. When I was still on
Yeah.
Chatterbait, I swear to God, 1,000 people in my room didn't make a penny because there were
I mean,
just so many voyeurs.
I think the biggest thing that I learned from working at Kink was it's like it doesn't matter how many people are in your room. It's matter that
Yeah,
you're paying your bills.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
because that's the end of
exactly.
the day thing. And
Exactly.
I think that's where a lot of people get very lost in the whole camming world where it gets so in like, oh, I need all these followers, I need this, I
Yeah,
need that.
yeah.
And it's like at the end of the day, you can have 30,000 people in your room and none of them be paying anything.
No, exactly. One of our top models, Theta Fox, has like 100 followers on Twitter, and it's like
Hmm.
you don't need it. You don't need Twitter followers if you're with the right studio and with the right website, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's really important. Like back 10 years ago, social media really mattered in the industry. Like that's how
Right.
you got booked for things. That's how you would get like kind of clout in the industry. And I feel like it's completely flipped because of all like the shadow bans and all that
Oh
stuff.
my God, yeah. Twitter's a mess, as we all know.
Where I just can't imagine entering this industry now where it's like in some ways I feel like it's more narrow now where it's like if you're gonna get into sex work, there are the means to be like, oh, you can create your own content with an iPhone. You can shoot as good of quality as someone who had a camera, 10 years ago.
Right.
But at the same time, you can't necessarily reach that big of an audience, I feel like, as
Yeah.
you used to be able to.
Yeah, navigating it's really hard. I mostly stick to camming. I've recently started getting back into porn and I just had top surgery. Yep.
Okay,
Oh,
congrats.
thank you so much. I took a month off and got to fucking work on a marketing campaign basically for all
Hmm.
my porn and made like I spent a lot of time more time than my regular hourly. I think I made like $300 in 1 month, which isn't a ton, and I spent a lot of time marketing it. So
Hmm.
it can kind of be entering into the unknown. I feel like when you're trying to navigate Twitter if you don't already have a huge following.
Yeah, I feel like the hard part is with shadow banning, like, I have 20,000 followers. None of them are seeing any of my stuff.
Right.
Where it's like it
Right.
doesn't
Yeah.
really matter anymore. Maybe 7 years ago it did,
Right. I didn't know shadow
but
banning went that hard. I thought
oh
if they were your
yeah.
followers that they would still see your stuff, but like
Oh,
not even if they're your
definitely,
folks.
definitely
My God.
not.
My God. I
I'm
didn't
like,
know
I
all
wish.
that. I didn't know
I'm
all
like,
that.
Twitter was great. Yeah, like 10 years ago, I'm like, I felt like there was just so much organic stuff that could happen.
Right.
And I feel like now it's just not really the case. I feel like the industry's kind of moved away from that in general.
Yeah, totally.
Where when I first joined the industry, that was the industry. Social media essentially was Twitter because you can
Gotcha.
post everything there. Then back in the good old days of Tumblr, where
Oh God, I miss Tumblr porn.
I miss it too. I mean, it still kind of exists. Like sometimes when I'm camming and I'm like, I don't want to come right now, but like maybe some edging or something. I'm like,
Yes.
okay, I'll look through some Tumblr porn.
Yes. The black and white like gifs of sucking dick in the rain, all that beautiful shit.
So when you got into camming, was there like something or camming and porn? It could be either one really. Was there a moment that really made you like realize this is something more than just like trying it for like a little bit? Or was it more just like, hey, I can't do burlesque now. This is where this is kind of evolving to during the middle of the pandemic.
In my first year, I felt like I was just kind of fucking around. But I realized very quickly that, oh, I can't ever work for somebody again. I was working in the food industry as a hostess,
Mm-hmm.
and as soon as like a few months into doing my own shit, I was like, I can't have a boss. I can't, like, it's so stressful. It's so like inconsistent. When you're a working class person, you are like your food service, your retail,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't do it anymore. There also aren't like aside from performing, I'm also a circus performer. There's nothing else that really seems like it could make me happy. I've thought about being a Foley artist, and that's like just about the only other thing. Um, there wasn't like a distinct moment. I'd say that the longer I stayed into it, the more I loved it. When I started honing in on how fucking kinky I can be and
Mm-hmm.
realizing that, oh, I don't just have to like do the
Vanilla
more
bullshit.
vanilla
Yeah.
stuff, the vanilla bullshit. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm
that
like,
shit,
you can swear here. Anything
yeah,
you need
okay,
to
yeah.
do.
All that fucking vanilla bullshit grew old
Yeah.
kind of quick. And when I realized that, oh, I can have my like, I can do the dark shit. I can do the mean shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of like my main thing is being really aggressive, being really mean. Hardcore degradation is
Fuck
probably
yeah.
my biggest specialty, a mix of that and like real weird fantasy role play. And as soon as I realized that, I just have to like just start saying no to people that I don't want to work with. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
getting over saying no to money, which can be really hard. Um, that's when I kind of decided that this is a career path. I'd say within the last year, I've kind of realized that this is something I want to do for a really long time. Love
Yeah.
making porn too. I love editing.
Oh my God. I can't. I just finished editing a whole movie yesterday and I'm like, I hate editing so much.
Yeah. How long was it?
It was most of the day yesterday.
Damn.
So the movie Chelsea Submits 3, it's coming out.
Hell yes.
Hopefully by the time this podcast is out, maybe.
Good shit.
But it's like I think originally it was like 2 hours and I edited it down to like an hour 15. So
That is, see, that's like my dream. I'm making like the longest clip I have, I think is 20 minutes. I
but
can't wait till I can start doing that sort of stuff.
you can do it though. Like honestly, how you make a film, just shoot like 4 scenes or 3 scenes with a common theme, string them all together, and then you can get it like on like Pink Label or like
Okay.
Hot Movies, which is kind of like the Spotify of porn.
All
Because
right.
if you
Okay,
do all
cool.
that
Pink
stuff,
label's
it
not
can get
movie.
nominated for awards. So then you could like have a film hypothetically nominated for an AVN or an XBiz award or
Right?
something like that.
What was it? Pink labels? What was the other one?
Oh yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, any creator who's listening to this, like those are I think really two good sites if you're trying to get your stuff eligible for things and really build it up as a film. I would do that. For me,
Cool.
like if I'm just continuously shooting content and it's not part of a specific project, that's how I get burnt out because I'm just like I feel like I'm
Totally.
just
Yeah.
pouring water down a drain at some point with content.
Yeah, that's like how I started. That's what OnlyFans felt like. I felt like I was making a lot of because you have to post so much. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
even making a weekly video, it just felt kind of empty. Like, I'm
Yeah.
here for the freak shit. I'm here for the weird, fucking kinky BDSM, creaturey fantasy roleplay stuff. Um, and it's not something I can push out every week. You know what I mean? Like, it takes
Yeah,
time
it's
to
like
like,
higher concept than just
yeah, yeah,
be like, I'm gonna jerk off on camera for for
exactly,
like 15
exactly.
minutes. Yeah, that's what really helped me, just like having some higher concept things where I'm like, okay, I want to do like this one, I wanted to do all I was like traveling a bunch this year, so I was like, I want to shoot a scene in Korea, I want to shoot a scene when I'm in the
Oh hell
Netherlands,
yeah,
and then I shot some stuff here in the Bay. I'm like,
good
okay,
shit.
traveling world tour, and then I was like, okay, there's a movie, right?
Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Um Yeah, when did you start like really I'm assuming BDSM is probably a big part of your personal life as well.
Oh yeah, baby. I am a lifestylist through and through.
So, when did you like figure out that that could really be part of your porn? Because for me, like, it was this light switch maybe like 6 years ago because I was always like, I need to find a Dom to do these things in real life. And I was like, wait, if I'm doing these things, I want to be on camera, you
Oh
know?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, I should just make all these things happen in my porn so I can actively like have a career off of it.
Yeah, totally. There were a few things when the first big show, so when I was doing burlesque, I still am
Hmm.
doing burlesque, but when that was like performing was my main income, I started producing shows pretty much as soon as I started performing. So I think I was 19 when I produced my first show, and it was for a
Wow.
kink festival. It was so much work. Oh my God. I had a business partner at the time. I don't have her anymore. I am not going to. I produced two shows alone. It's hell. I will never do this again without a business partner. It's
That
so much
shit's
work.
so intense.
So much work.
I used to be a concert promoter and I came across the last festival I booked like the Facebook posts about it. And it's just like so messy where it's like someone
God, it
punched
really.
through a glass like artwork on the wall and
Oh
you
my
have to clean it
God.
up and figure out who did
Yeah.
it. I'm
Oh my
like,
God. It's yeah, it's
too
crazy.
much.
It was great. I don't regret anything. It was especially as like a 19-year-old, like it was like 19 to 21 or 22. It was surreal being able to like put my art out there, but
Yeah.
not something I want to do without a team. I lost my train of thought. Kink Festival. First show I
Yes.
produced was at a kink festival. That was my first real exposure to the kink world. We got like everyone got free tickets to the whole festival, to the after party, to the everything. So I got to kind of get a full ride through at least the surface level of a
Hmm.
lot of kinky stuff. Um, when I started transitioning, so I was quote cis when I first started camming. So I was the big titty, subby baby doll, sucking pink dildos, curly, retro hair. Like I was a full fucking 180 from what I'm doing now. Surreal looking at my old porn. Maybe in 10 years from now I'll drop some like legacy shit, but in the
Yeah, you should
vaults
do
for
some
now.
AI shit where you're like subbing with yourself.
Yeah. Oh my God. What a ride. Yeah, that would be crazy. Um, I started transitioning. I started getting more serious with Cam. I met a
Hmm.
Dom who I like. Oh, we fell in love very quickly.
Oh.
Baphomet, Madame Baphomet, who is on the West Coast now. I lived in her whorehouse for like 3 months.
Hmm.
She had two subs living with her, one a fiance, one the dog, the human
Yeah,
dog
yeah,
like
yeah.
under the table. And she mentored me through transitioning while being a sex worker, through being a dom as
Wow.
a cam model. Like I got not only like that type of mentoring with work,
Hmm.
but I would practice on her subs like for a few hours, and then we would sit in her basement, decompress, go through every single like action and move and decision I made for like 3 to 4 hours almost every day for like 3 months. So that was kind of my like tipping point to what I wanted to do with
Mm.
camming. And then I met Bella like shortly after, and that kind of just pushed all of that over the edge.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the beautiful thing about BDSM. Like it's ignored as how like much of a community thing it is. Like you kind of have to have
Oh
other
yeah,
people who have been in the
totally,
community before to almost like
totally.
introduce you to it, you know?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Especially the lifestyling stuff can be hard to navigate if you don't have someone like who's been doing it for a while. My mentor, when I'd met them, had been doing it for 15 years.
Hmm.
And I certainly wouldn't have been able to get where I was without her.
For real.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like that's such a like important thing that isn't really talked about in the industry so much is just like how important like collaboration is, and especially with people who have more experience. Like, I think Bella and I worked when I was only maybe like 24, so I was still like fairly new to it. So I think that was like such an important step to me to be like, okay,
totally.
I'm like fully doing a BDSM film,
Yeah,
fully
hell
like
yeah.
getting away from, maybe
Hell
even the
yeah.
more like porny BDSM.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean by that. Like more pure kink and better
Hmm.
stuff. Yeah. Honestly, though, community is so important. It can be so hard to find as an individual model. So Vesper and I live like 15 minutes from each other, and it's
Yeah, are you
been,
guys in Massachusetts, I'm assuming?
no, we're in New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Um, it has been so helpful to like just have a body double for business meetings and to like be able to sit down and like talk through ideas and pick out costumes,
Mm-hmm.
set up spaces with each other. Even just having team meetings with treasure cams has been like a godsend. Seeing other faces, talking about like everything you need to, and having people who are like real about numbers. Like that, I understand like some people have sensitivities and like
Mm-hmm.
don't want to talk about money. That's like most people don't. But it's been really refreshing to be able to sit down and talk like real numbers and hours.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah, I think especially with camming, I think it's just like everyone feels so isolated and like I think there's a
Totally.
level. I think it's getting better now because I think the industry is okay to talk about like mental health stuff.
Yeah.
Where when I first started the industry, if you talked about mental health stuff, they'd be like, "Why are you fucking crazy?" Like
Yeah. And it's like because
horrific
I'm a
as.
cam model. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
right. They'd be like, "She's a crazy bitch. Don't listen to her."
Oh my God.
Um, I think it's good that there's finally like more things where even like with a campsite, like I got a death threat maybe 6 or 7 years ago on a campsite and they
Yeah.
did fucking nothing. And
Yeah.
now the response is so different from
Yeah.
any
Totally.
campsite where that happens, where they're like, okay, we're gonna figure out where they are. We're gonna ban them permanently. If you need
Yeah.
mental health help, we can do
Yeah.
all that stuff. Where when I started, it was just completely,
Really. I
yeah, it
couldn't
was bad.
imagine. I couldn't imagine because I feel like especially as trans people, we get some like
Oh, for sure.
people say some terrible shit to us.
Yeah. How do you deal with like kind of decompression? For me, like I always have to meditate like right after cam
Yeah.
because like I
Yeah.
can't take that shit with me because it's
No.
like
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do with it because it's just like there's so much. I feel like it's never the clients, it's always the people who have no money. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
100%. It's the
Yeah.
people who go on there to fucking troll. I imagine them being like the most horrifically sad incel people in the world, and keeping that in my head kind of helps. Um, how do I decompress? I roll up an herby, what I call a sober cigarette, which means I'm basically just smoking like mugwort and lavender. And I just walk around my house and I sing and I dance and I like breathe it off. Um, Even on my best days, I still do that because I struggled with a while. It can be hard when you're camming from your room, which I think is
Yeah,
something that
for sure.
I don't hear a lot of people talk about how difficult it is when your bedroom, which is supposed to be like your sanctuary, is also your studio, especially if you're camming in your bed.
Yeah.
It can be hard to like disconnect and like remake a space. So after every shift, I like spend like 10 or 15 minutes in my room just like breathing and like I guess like clearing the energy
Hmm.
and switching modes. And then I dance, I stretch, I eat, I drink water. I probably get off most of the time too, since I'm edging myself for 4 or 5 hours. And if I don't come on camera after 6 hours with uh some edge play, I am definitely gonna need to take care of that.
I definitely feel that sometimes where I'm like I really feel like camming is a really good practice for being a porn performer. Because in a porn scene, you're
Totally.
gonna have to go through things that are, I'm not gonna say like uncomfortable, but like there's gonna be delays and things that come up, difficulties,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And like to be able
Totally.
to be like, okay, I can come despite whatever happens. Let's have the worst cam show in a
Yeah.
row, but if you can come on cue afterwards, it's
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
you're like
Yeah.
training your body to be able to
Totally.
deal with those adverse conditions, you
Yeah.
know?
It's amazing how intimate we get with our own bodies. I feel like there's a lot of things about my body I like otherwise probably wouldn't have learned. Like when
For
I was in,
real.
yeah.
I think it's also like discovering your sexuality like within your own mind and like figuring
Oh
out all
yeah.
the ways around it where I feel like non-sex workers don't really have that where it's more of a physical thing still for them where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, if someone touches me in this way or I'm attracted to this sort of person, my body's gonna respond in this way. And I feel like when you've been doing porn and camming for so long, you really kind of figure out almost like the pathways of everything. Do you kind of feel the same way with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, totally. you do so much with so many people, so many
Hmm.
different kinds of things, especially since we're doing like kink and BDSM.
Yeah,
Um, I'm like gobsmacked thinking about how many scenes we must do a year as cam models.
I
Like
can't.
it's like in the like it's got to be in the tens of thousands, right? It's got to be like 5 to 10,000,
I
depending on how many hours you stream and how many people come in. I guess it depends on what you define as a
see,
scene.
like for me, like I feel like usually when I do actual sessions in a day, it's usually there's one or two people are paying for it essentially.
Gotcha.
Where I don't have, I would say it's very rare if I have 10 different clients in
Gotcha.
a show where I feel like it's usually like one or two where it's like one client who's like, I'm gonna take care of all your goals for the day.
That's amazing. I have it's like a hot mix for me. I cam for 4 to 6 hours. And some days it's
Damn,
like
that's pretty with no breaks, or do you like do a
oh,
break in the
I take
middle?
breaks. Oh, I take
Oh,
breaks.
okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
can't do more for like 3, 4 hours at a time,
Yeah.
or I'm just like fried.
Yeah, I'm like 2 to 3 before. It depends on how busy it is. If it's dead, I can't stay on for more than 2 hours staring at a blank screen. If it's busy, I can probably push it to 3, but I'll take like 10-minute breaks. I don't know are you on Streamate? Or are you on a different
Yes,
site?
yeah. Yep.
I will use
I fuck around with a few sites where
yeah,
I'm just like bounce between them because I'm like sometimes there's a client that hits me up and they're like, "Oh, I'm only on this one site
right,
where I have
right.
this much money on here. Do you want to do a show for this?" I'm like, "Okay, sure, I'll jump on it."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That 30-second buffer between private and back on the guest chat, I will always sit down and use that. That's like even if I'm not naked or anything, that's like my breathing time, and I found that using that has helped me a lot.
I just exit out. I'm like, they're gonna come back. They're gonna spend more money. I'm
Fair enough.
immediately like,
Yeah,
you hit your limit, didn't you?
they often do. They so often do.
So yeah, how do you kind of prepare for your scenes now? Because it sounds like you're starting to kind of do a little bit more high concept porn and like trying to do more like bigger ideas. How do you kind of come up with that? Like what's kind of your process?
Honestly, I'm a theater kid and the improv
Oh,
skills
that
are
makes sense.
fucking, oh yeah, I'm a flamboyant, swinky little theater kid. And the improv skill that I have already had a base for and have just like gained so much experience with over the last year. It just give me your 1, 2, 3 concept, whatever you want, and I will like
Hmm.
take that and keep you in this exclusive for 30 minutes, like talking down the barrel of a camera. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's all improv. I don't think I've ever done anything to actually like prepare even for like customs and stuff. I just kind of like get a visual. That's a big thing for me. I
Hmm.
visualize what I'm imagining this like full scenario looks like, almost like it's a movie. And then I kind of just describe what's happening in my head as the movie's going, if that
But
makes sense.
what do you really want to make? Like, is there a big film
I want to
concept
make
or scene concept you want to do?
blasphemy shit. I want to do some like devilish shit. I want to use a church that's been sold or broken down or unused, and I want to do some sacrilegious shit,
Uh,
some demon summoning, some succubus summoning, that sort of
Sounds
stuff.
very black metal.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
waiting for you to be like that.
100%.
We're gonna set it on fire.
I mean, yeah, honestly, why not?
No, no, no.
I
We do not promote church burnings on this show. No.
take it all
Where
back.
before you're like, can I say anything? I'm like, well, maybe not that, but
Yeah,
but
I haven't done a lot of like the porn that I've made is mostly solo. The few
yeah.
clips that I have made with other people haven't been super kinky. I'm definitely this year looking to get into scening with people who can take a lot of psychological sadism
Hmm.
and also like physical sadism as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think being like camming seriously for 2 years, I think it's like a pretty good time. I think I was camming for like about a year and a half before I started doing porn, where I feel like when you just like have that general understanding of how your body works and
Right.
just like really have that comfort level on camera, I think it's like really a good time to, kind of explore higher concepts, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I'm definitely ready for it. I'm hungry for it. Um, I feel like I have the time now. I had put all of those things on the back burner for a little bit because I needed to get my shit together. I needed to get my schedule together. I needed to show myself I could camp consistently before adding on another thing. But I've been doing a solid like schedule since September, and I feel like this summer it's time.
Yeah, it's gonna come. Like when you feel rightly inspired, I'm sure it's gonna naturally organically happen. With like your circus performing, has that in burlesque, is that like something you really want to like express in your work as well?
Yes and no. I would say a lot of like Victor Viero, who's on the burlesque stage, is the same Victor Viero that is on cam. We're just doing
Mm-hmm.
different things. So I definitely say that the energy is consistent between the
Mm-hmm.
two. I don't want to do the hustle of performing anymore, which is kind of where I'm at with it. I love it. I want to keep doing it, but I have gotten a lot more particular about the gigs that I take up. I don't really want to dress in cis drag anymore. I don't want to do like the big titty go-go gigs. Um, I want to do
I
like freak
mean,
shit.
I think after doing top surgery, that might be a little bit hard.
Yeah, that's true. They'll depending on the costume, they come prepared with their titty and ass inserts if need be.
Okay. So so probably not a return to the big titty, but you have the
Yeah.
gear in case there's
Yes,
ever a comeback.
we've got the breast molds just in case I am having a having a night where I want to wear a disguise.
I love that. Yeah, I want, do you know of Aorta Films in
I
Brooklyn?
just applied
Oh,
to work with
really?
them.
I
Yeah,
feel
like
like
yesterday.
they did a concept that was it was like contemporary dance
Mm.
mixed with porn. And I feel like the whole circus
Oh,
performance would like
delicious.
definitely fit very well with that in
Yeah.
burlesque. Like I
I d
definitely, oh, go on.
I said I definitely like my acts are pretty horny.
Yeah.
So I could for sure see that being a way. I have done like some stripteasy type of stuff, but I think maybe I haven't found the right like outlet or concept for how to integrate the two,
Mhm.
but it's cool to know that Aorta is doing stuff like that because I would love to bring the two of them together.
Yeah, that's definitely like what, when you start explaining all the different mediums you did, I'm like, that's what immediately went in my mind. I'm like, oh, Iward is kind of doing that also in New
Oh,
York
hell
as
yeah.
well.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah. Um, are you like pretty comfortable where you are right now, or do you feel like there's like kind of a need to move somewhere to pursue more stuff? Because like when I first started 10 years ago, porn was so limited by geography where it
Right,
was like you had to either move to the Bay if you wanted to do queer porn, if you wanted to do mainstream porn, you had to move to LA.
right.
And that was like kind of it back then.
Yeah. I feel good where I'm at. I got lovers and bitches in every major city in this country. So if I need to go to the Bay to shoot some porn, I got a house to stay in.
That's great. That's so cool. Yeah,
Yeah. I also live so close to Bella, which is nice.
I just love that like porn is so much more almost like universal right now, and obviously there's like all this anti-sex work shit that's happening in the
Yeah.
United States at the moment, but like it feels like even from when I started this podcast, everyone was in California or we're in
Right.
Vegas, where now I feel like I'm interviewing people and it's like, oh, I'm in Kansas and that's where I've made my entire career, or Louisville,
Yeah.
Kentucky, and it
Yeah.
just feels like there's so much more opportunities to really make porn anywhere as long as
Oh
you like
yeah.
really have the drive to do it.
Yeah. I'd say like with camming too, that's a nice thing about camming is you really can be anywhere, and still be able to be successful. And sometimes that's the foot in the door. I feel like I know a lot of people who started with camming and use that to kind of like build themselves up and make a little bit of a name for themselves and then move to
For
porn.
sure. Yeah, I couldn't imagine walking onto a porn set without like the years of camping experience. Like that seems so scary,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. I've never been on a big set. I did shoot some stuff with Bella, but I'd already known Bella for a year and a half, was
Hmm.
very comfortable with her. So I think it was probably probably a little different than what I'm gonna experience when I get on sets with people I don't have that sort of relationship with.
Yeah, I think that's where like the camming really comes in because I feel like for a lot of people who aren't used to being naked or performing on cue, really,
Yeah.
Like, I think it's still a thing where it's like, oh, there's strangers in the room who I didn't
Right.
meet, or like there's the camera person or the PA who's on their phone in the corner who's like
Right.
totally tuned out.
Right,
I
right,
think for a
right.
lot of people that trips people up, but like I think
Yeah.
camming really helps because you're literally used to people being in your cam room when you're in the middle of doing like explicit
Right,
things. I mean,
right,
like I
right.
don't really have a who cares, you know?
Totally, totally. I think burlesque has prepared me for that. Like burlesque for sure prepared me for camming because I, again, 18, like naked as all hell up on stage in front of 100 people
Hmm.
sometimes. Half of them at the bar not paying attention. So definitely not shy about being naked in front of people.
Yeah, so I have a
Um,
few more questions for you. First off, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me. This has
yeah,
been so
absolutely.
great.
Thank you for making
Um,
the space for
yeah,
all this.
100%. It's just so cool to like hear people who are getting into the industry now and just like how much of a different experience it is that you guys don't have to deal with like the overt slurs as was like literally
Yeah,
how trans people used to be marketed.
yeah, God. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I'm still thinking about what was it, tranny awards or whatever you
Yep,
said at the beginning.
yep,
Jesus.
yep. The tranny awards.
Yeah.
That is now what is like the transgender erotica awards. So
Okay. Improvements.
I'm not gonna go that far. I'm not gonna give them
Margin.
that much credit, but
Okay, fair enough.
it's better that's not on like a marquee anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
That when
yeah.
there's not a marquee with like a slur on it.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard to get worse than that for sure.
Yeah. So you've been in this industry for 2 years. What's like a big thing that you want to accomplish that you haven't so far? It could be
Honestly,
like short term, long term.
yeah. Honestly, I don't think I have a set goal. I'm just like feeling the momentum and the fire I have underneath me and seeing where that takes me. I want to meet more people. I want to do more stuff in person. I really want to do more porn. I think that's where I'm at. I
Yeah.
want to make queer porn for queer people. I want kinky porn that's like real. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, for sure.
we're on camera. It's not going to be like we're alone. There's no way to make it feel like you're doing a scene alone. But I want to bring more authenticity into not the porn I make necessarily,
Hmm.
but in general, I want to be able to make kink scenes that I don't know, aren't so like airbrushed, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean, and like mainstream kink scenes I find extremely boring. Um yeah.
Yeah, what about
Yeah.
it?
It it feels inauthentic. Do you know what
Mm,
I mean? Like the act
yeah.
feels like it's laid on too thick. It doesn't feel like the performers are actually getting into like a subspace or like are as engaged with it. Like I
Hmm.
can feel the performance on it, and I want to be able to experience with someone a real connection and a real
Hmm.
scene. I want to actually be able to guide someone into subspace and through whatever type of emotional and physical experience they're looking
Yeah.
for.
I think
While
that's
also
really
getting on
admirable.
camera.
I the one thing I do love about BDSM porn is I feel like no matter how much it's a planned scene, at some moment it's someone hitting another person and then it becomes very real
Yeah,
because it's just like there's
totally.
always that moment. Also, like I love porn that breaks like the fourth wall.
Yeah,
Where there was one they were shooting at AVN and the Dom was just like destroying this girl's feet and was like, "You have to stand the whole next day at the convention and you have to think about me the whole time." I'm like, it's so fucking hot.
amazing.
Like
Yeah,
it's so
yeah,
relatable. I love
yeah,
that, you know? Um,
yeah,
yeah, that's like I think the thing that brings me back to BDSM is
yeah,
even if it's a very kind of like played up scene, I feel like you can find those moments of it being very real.
totally. I think I need to do a bit of a deeper dive into the type of kinky porn that's out there. Because when I think about the kinky porn I've seen, it's like what's top of the page on like Pornhub. You know what I mean? Like the kink stuff that's a bit more spicy vanilla,
I
if you
think
know what I
like
mean.
the best BDSM I think is like being made in like either Eastern Europe or Japan.
Oh,
Like
I would never
Yeah, like
snow.
a lot of like I'm trying to remember the country. Like what? Oh, like Hungary. The porn there is fucking crazy.
Okay.
Like
Do you
it's
have any
super intense.
names or websites? Because I would love to
One is the
use.
Fetish Network, I believe.
Cool.
And then I don't know any of the names of these Japanese BDSM companies, but
Okay.
like I don't know, have you ever been to Japan before?
I have not.
So when you go into the BDS, when you go into like a porn store there, it's just rows and rows of BDSM porn.
Mm,
Like the
delicious.
porn being made there is so much better than any American or even
Really?
European
Mm,
BDSM because of like censorship laws and stuff there. That's
yeah.
why like you can't show penetration.
Right.
Actually goes back to President Eisenhower when they rewrote Japan's constitution. They disallowed that, so that's what caused fetish porn to rise so much there because you
Gotcha.
can't show full penetration.
Mm,
Because it's like dumb American shit because he
right.
was trying to pander to like middle America to get votes in like the
Oh my
next
God.
election. So that's the only reason Japan's
Jesus.
constitution has the censorship laws in it.
Oh my God. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the BDSM porn there is like a majority of the industry, and it's really crazy because
Hell
you can
yeah.
also go in and you can buy mannequins with the actual rope used in the BDSM scenes tied by the riggers who did it in the scene. So not only is the mannequin signed by the model, it's also signed by the rigger, which is just so fucking cool.
That
Where
is
I'm
so
like,
fucking cool.
it's so cool. Um, but yeah, I highly suggest
Holy hell
if you ever
yeah.
get a chance to go to Japan, the
Absolutely.
BDSM porn there's so amazing. Also, like the first skill they teach all the doms there is like shibari, like rope suspension, which is
Fucking
so crazy
amazing.
that all my friends in Japan are just like, oh yeah, you just learned that like your first week of working here.
That's fucking amazing. I'm jealous because here it's like, okay, I need to find it. I need to find
It's so
somebody. I need to
difficult.
find a
Yeah.
mentor. Yeah. I do a fair amount. Not a suspension though, because I haven't found a mentor yet. Um, I wonder what they, do you know anything about their sharps scene over there? I'm just like interested in,
I don't think there's much of it. Also,
gotcha.
that's like a really big fear of mine, so I don't think I've
Okay.
ever dived
All
into
right.
that where I'm
I
like
will I
needles
will
are
put that
just
away. I will put that away.
yeah, I feel like needles are a really big fear of mine. That fire is as well, where I'm just like, those are the things where I'm like, I don't think I can do that.
Yeah.
I've done a few electricity scenes, which is a huge fear. I've done it in like one scene. That was like a lot of tears and
Yeah.
shit,
Oh
but
yeah, I
like
bet.
I
Was
did
it a
it.
violet wand or a neon wand?
It was just one of those zapper things. I'm
Or
absolutely
like the
terrified of
cow prodding thing?
electricity.
Like that
No, yeah, the smaller ones.
yeah.
I did a public disgrace scene recently, and the Dom Princess Donna had a cattle prod in their car, and they were like, "I'm gonna get it." I'm like, "No." I'm like, I'm in the middle of the scene. I'm like trying not to break the scene, but I'm just like quiet. They're like, "Why are you quiet?" I'm like, "No."
Was this are you into fear play? But
Yeah, a little bit.
okay. I'm
Yeah.
just curious because you just listed your three
Yeah,
big
I
ones.
mean, I think that's like a thing I want to do in my work. Like, I want to capture these like challenging scenes or like intense scenes
Yeah.
where I really want it to be a challenge. And like, yeah, shooting a public disgrace scene in October. That was definitely one of them where I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I've done smaller versions of this, but I think we had like 70 people there. So it
Hell
was like
yeah.
a really big, intense scene.
That's fucking
And
amazing.
yeah, I feel like as a performer, I just always want to like push myself and stuff. And it's really why I
Totally.
moved out here to work at the armory and be like,
Yeah.
try to tackle crazy porn.
I feel like that's kind of where I'm at. I actually recently got off. I took like a 6 month hiatus from doming at
Hmm.
all. I was literally just like a dom drop. Like I didn't realize how much I needed aftercare as a dom. So I was like doming for like a year and a half without any care and then dropped for
Mm.
6 months. And needles and rope have been like my inspiration to getting back into it. And I am kind of realizing with the porn I want to make, I need that edge too. I need it to be real. I want to push myself. I don't just want to
Yeah.
like make content because I need to sell it. I want to show people and show myself like what I can do, how far I can
Yeah.
like push myself, how far the sub can push themselves.
Hmm. I think that's a really like safe place to do in porn because like I don't know how you'd arrange a gangbang in real life. That seems like there's so many risks and all this stuff. But if you do it in a
Tinder.
porno, I've gone on 2 Tinder dates and then I married the second person I met off of it. So
Damn, I'm a Tinder whore. I have
yeah.
I have gotten busy on Tinder.
I had people hit me up and be like, "Do you want to hook up tonight?" I'm like, "Tonight? I have to go somewhere?" No.
Yeah,
Like I like about porn that it's like the scheduled thing. I kind of compare it to like how people get into like MMA fighters or boxers where it's
yeah,
like I'm gonna fuck you in 3 months at
yeah, yeah,
noon.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like it's
yeah.
sex but like in performance, but it's also like super like planned and
Yeah,
concentrated where it's like very much within a thing where it's
totally.
like just like with a boxing match, it's like, oh, you're gonna fight this person, but it's like at a very specific place at a very
Yeah,
specific time, and then
yeah,
you have to promote it together and like
yeah,
all
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it kind of is, but it's kind of not real.
Yeah. I mean, it's for sure a way to like try new things. I
Hmm.
feel like in like an organized and safe place.
Yeah, that's definitely how I feel about it now, and that's what I think so cool about BDSM that you can really try live out fantasies and be creative with all
Absolutely.
this stuff.
Yeah. Fantasy
So,
roleplay is definitely my number one. I kind of need that as an overarching uh theme in every scene, regardless
mm.
of the physical stuff. Like if there isn't a story, it's like cardio and I'm bored.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I've done some like more mainstream lesbian scenes lately, and I'm just like, oh, this is different. After
Yeah.
doing so much BDSM for
Right,
years.
right.
So I have one final question. This is my only kind of BuzzFeedy question. Let's say you could magically change one thing in porn. You wake up tomorrow completely different. What would it be?
Oh, that's a hard one. Magically change one thing in porn. We get higher payouts
That would
on
be
all of our
great. That'd
on
be
all of
fucking
our
great.
sites.
Yeah.
Um,
That's the most honest answer to this. And fuck
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's yeah, it's unfortunate.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think just like the more agency performers have and like the more of a say they have in their careers, I think obviously
yeah.
better. And it's a lot better than before, where before it was so like tied to like people casting you. And
Right.
now I feel like if you really want to become a porn performer and you're gonna put the effort into it, you can kind of do it, you know?
Oh, totally. I guess my second one, I have a second answer.
Okay.
That's all right. A space for
It
NBs to be marketed.
yeah,
Because there isn't much for them. Every NB person I know just like puts themselves in the cis category, which I am a
yeah.
trans person who's in the cis category like by choice, and it's like it was a very like thought out thing. But I know a handful of people who are like, I wish I didn't have to, but there like isn't a non-binary category, and if there is, it isn't marketed very well from
Yeah.
what I could tell.
It's still crazy at these like award shows and stuff. There still isn't like a non-binary
Right?
category,
Yeah.
or even
Yeah.
at like some of them, they just not even like a trans man category, like at AVN or anything.
They don't have a trans. You said they don't have a
I
trans mask
don't believe
category?
so.
Oh
I think at
shit.
like AVN awards there might be, but not AVN.
Damn.
So it's
Brutal.
like, yeah, it's really weird that like non-binary people have existed in porn. Like even if you're just saying like mainstream porn for at least like 15 years now.
Right.
And that there's still not any representation of that. I'm
Yeah.
hoping it
Yeah.
changes as there's more and more non-binary people in the industry.
Yeah. I definitely see I don't identify as non-binary. I like am somewhere on the trans mask. I don't really identify as man. But definitely see a lot of people just put in their pronouns in their bio, and that seems to be doing something. I'm in the cis woman category, but I like you call me daddy or sir, you get out of my room. Um and people are receptive to that. So
Yeah, it's
I
just
know it's a weird thing to navigate.
yeah, it's also strange that trans porn is considered straight porn in porn.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It is really
Like
weird. I so don't even if I am like doing a scene with like a trans like binary trans femme, I would not consider that like straight porn. I don't know. I
it
feel
is
like
very
T for T porn.
strange. That, yeah, when I'm like doing a lesbian BDSM scene
Yeah,
that's lumped in with straight porn, it's so bizarre.
yeah,
Where, yeah, I don't know. It's still a very strange thing that I think about often, especially like around award season because, it's the same awards as, mainstream porn stars like Riley Reid and shit. And it's just
right.
like, how is this the same world despite me like literally being like tied to a St. Andrew's cross and electrocuted by like
Seriously.
a dom? And we're both in like full latex and they're like,
Yeah,
yeah, you're next to mainstream porn girls. It's like, oh, okay.
yeah. Yeah, people at the top have some catching up to do.
Well, where can everyone find you on all the socials and where can they find you on cam?
I stream on Streamate. You can find me on Twitter to get all of my links, or you can go to my website, victorviero.com. On Twitter, I'm Victor Viero XO as well as Instagram. And if you go to my Twitter, you'll have link to my website, link to my cam page, link to my pornos.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I had so much fun chatting with you, and I really wish you the best. And I hope to see you doing all sorts of circus porno in the future. And
I
yeah.
have an act where I like spin a hoop on a dildo while it's strapped onto me. So maybe we'll get that filmed and put it
Okay,
up
no,
on
no,
ManyVids
no one
somewhere.
take that. That's copyrighted.
Yes, yes, patented.
Well, thank you so much again, and bye, everyone.
Yeah, thank you as well.